Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books. Books, because I do. Books. Just books. Oh, that would be such a great name. Is there a booktube channel out there called Just Books? There probably is, right? So anyway, well, if there is, I don't follow them, sorry. I'm gonna go look that up. Anyway, I was looking around. When it's a Friday and you have nothing to do, why not a book tag? I love book tags. So I was looking around at new book tags, and there was a brand new book tag put out on February 7th, and so many people have done it already. But it's kind of more, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get so much shit for this and I don't even really care. It's kind of more the literate crowd of BookTube, the very serious booktubers. And I love them all. I love you all, but we read different things. So it was interesting coming up with the answers to this because I watched their videos and I was like this. I've never even heard of some of these books. I've never heard of a George Glass at our school before. So anyway, I was like I was watching some of these videos and I was like, I don't even know these books they're talking about. What an idiot I am, right? So the video is called Future Classics Book Tag, and it is by Eric Carl Anderson, who I had never heard of before, and I like immediately subscribed to his channel. I was like, I love this guy. Like, he's so fun to watch. So Eric, how are you doing out there? This one's for you. I will link his channel below and you guys can go check it out. I'll link the original video because this is an original tag. He came up with his own tag, okay? And it's real cute. It has a little movie clip at the beginning of it with Mae West and all this kind of stuff. I think it's Mae West. So anyway, says, let's pick books that you think will still be read and considered classics in 50 years' time. Who knows? Maybe in the year 2068, people, I will not be here. So, in the year, I hope I am, but I don't think I will be. Maybe in the year 2068, people will watch your video and be impressed that you guessed future classics correctly. Can you imagine people watching my video? Not my videos in 2068. I am obsessed though with those time travel videos. Have you seen those? They're all over YouTube. There's a whole like, you know how there's ASMR videos and there's beauty drama? So I do beauty drama videos if you didn't know. I also have a story time channel and I also have a vlog channel. So there, go subscribe to all 4 of my channels. But anyway, there's a whole community on YouTube. This is a true story of time traveler videos. Okay, they're hilarious. Go watch them. Maybe they're true. I don't know, but it's real. Kind of spooks me out a little bit. So anyway, rules. Discuss 5 books that you predict will become future classics. PP the Flying Chihuahua said that he would love to be part of this video. Which ones? He said all Danielle Steele would be his pick. So anyway, we know how PP loves his Danielle Steele and his Nora Roberts. Okay, he's reading a real good James Patterson right now. I've got my books and I got some of my books, I guess, and they got post-it notes on them and everything. Okay. The first one, get with the program. Pick an established classic that you think will still be relevant in the future. And I was really thinking about this, okay? And I was like, Now, you all know the one I always do. My #1 favorite of time, Forever and Ever Amen, is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I love this book. I do think it'll still be relevant in 50 years down the road. I was really trying to leave this off the list, so it's going to be left off the list. I also tried to leave The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas off the list because you know I have sang its praises in every video in 2017. So, but I think this and The Hate You Give will still be relevant in 50 years. So there, I got it in. But then I was going to put, are you ready? The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, because I thought, well, it's a coming of age story. And I really think people will be talking about that and all this kind of stuff. But then I was like, let's throw a curveball. So I actually picked Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. And let me tell you why. If you've ever read this book, I have a love affair with this book. Like a love-hate relationship affair with this book. Like sometimes I'm like, no! And other times I'm like, oh yes, right? But like, I feel like a lot of like Franny's issues in this book are more relevant today than when I read the book when I was like in high school. I actually need to reread this book, and it's been a long time, but I was thinking about it, and I thought, you know, like, I kind of wonder if this book will have this, like, underground resurgence, so that's my guess for 50 years. I'm a psychic. Always thinking, see? Okay. Now, #2, the question was, put a recent book which you feel has gone under the radar, but which you're confident will be a future classic. Okay, so now, listen. I don't feel like this book went under the radar. I mean, there's a movie about it and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't believe that it's a classic, that we discuss the undertones of, like, literate symbology and things like that that I think are important of that novel, and that is Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I always pronounce his name wrong. Poloniak. So anyway, and last year I did like a reading group with his books. We made it to 2 books. But anyway, I did not love this book, actually. Invisible Monsters is my all-time favorite book by him. And, but I do think, having read it, I really think, like, years down the road, and I know at some universities they're already studying this book, but I do think as a way to look back on society, I think this will be a book that is studied almost probably more in sociology classes, like from a sociological point of view, than I do think of, like, also, like, the idea of masculinity. My mother read this book, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and she was like, it's about Zen Buddhism. I was like, where do you get that from? She was like, never explained it to me. I still don't know. So anyway, that's my number 2. All right. My 3 and 4 books, I do not have them. Number 3 is pick a title that won one of your favorite book prizes recently, which you think will be still be lauded in 50 years' time. And I picked The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I loved that book. The first time I started it, I could not get into it to save my life. The second time I read it, I was just absolutely blown away. And it won the Pulitzer last year. So, it was so beautiful. The other one I want to say is not, like, because you guys know I read a lot of young adult on my channel, but I was really thinking about a book that I think 50 years time from now on, as far as like its literature value will still be discussed. And I picked Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sainz, and it won a Lambda Award, I think 3 or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago when it came out. Its sequel is coming out this year. It is so beautifully written. It is so beautifully done, and I do think that from I think it is another book that will be discussed from a sociological point of view, as far as like Chicano culture and things like that. And I think it's important, and I think he's an important author for that reason alone. And if you've read a lot of his books, okay, not just that one, but like Last Night I Sang to the Monster, which is about addiction, or if you've read Sammy and Juliana in Hollywood, he writes so much about Chicano culture, and I think it's a really small segment, I cannot speak today, it's a small segment of where literature goes in our society that I really think that we need to be discussing it more. And I think probably, you know, like in classes at like the University of Vermont, or, you know, like, I don't know, somewhere small, you know, Pepperdine or something like that. I mean, they're probably, these highly literate students are probably doing independent studies of Chicano culture literature, but, you know, and I'm not even saying that right, but I mean, I think he's one author that we don't pay enough attention to, his overall work, not just Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, because, you know, like, he's so much more of a writer than just that. So, he is one author I definitely think that will be read 50 years from now. And rediscovered. I think he'll be somebody that's rediscovered. If you've never, and I keep on going on and on about him, but I do love his work. If you've just read Aristotle and Dante and you've never read anything else by him, go read Last Night I Sang to the Monster by Benjamin Alire-Sainz. It is about a kid, and he's 18 years old, and he's in a drug treatment program. That's for adults. His roommate is an adult. And it's so endearing, but let me just tell you, as a person that's in recovery and has been sober for 23 years, it is so right on. I mean, he got it right. And it's just, it's one book that is so unsettling to me. I walked away from it. I can't ever get rid of it, you know? And that's what you want to do as an author. Okay, number 4, pick a recent book you haven't read yet, but which you think might become a classic based on reputation alone. Reviews, responses, Goodreads. Okay, now somebody sent me this book, so I'm just going to say it as I haven't read it. Everybody wants me to read this book. I don't know why. It's totally not. I just read that book the other day. The Truly and Magical Art of Tidying Up. I hated that book. It was horrible. I was like, oh, keep that shit away from me. I don't like that stuff, okay? I like books stacked in corners. I like fresh flowers. I kind of like clutter a little bit, not too much of it, but that book, it wore me out. I didn't like it. So now, everybody, they want me to read this book. The #1 Times bestseller by Neil deGrasse Tyson, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. And, yeah, I had like 2 friends that read this book, and they were like, oh my God, it's phenomenal. You have to read it. You'll just love it when you just sit down and read a couple pages of it. I started it, and it's like apparently astrophysics for dumb people like me. And I started reading it, and I got like 3 pages in, and I was like, what? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand it, and I don't understand why I would read it. And I brought it up to my dad at lunch. My dad goes, one of my favorite books. See? I'm an idiot. Okay, and number 5, pick a favorite book that you want to save for your grandchildren or your friends' grandchildren to read in 50 years' time. Okay, what was so interesting to me about this is this, right? So my friends, I am 45, so my friends are 40, like in their 40s, okay? Their children are like between 10 and 15. So if they had children, okay, which would be my friends' grandchildren, you know, we're talking another 20 years down the road or 50 years down the road, right? So they have them like reading all these like adult books. Did I miss the question? Did I get the assignment wrong? I'm so that person that always gets the assignment wrong. But I picked, adult or child, I picked A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I think it's such a timeless piece. I think it's so beautiful. I was so resistant to reading this. In fact, the movie was on TV the other day. We were getting ready to go out for Valentine's Day dinner, and the movie was on the background. And Alex goes, "What is this?" And I go, "Oh my God, that's Monster Calls. I haven't seen it yet." I go, "Turn it off. I'll start crying." It is such a beautifully, beautifully written story. You can read it like that quick. I think I read it in like 2 hours or something like that. But adults or children, it's just such a beautiful book. I actually don't think it's a children's book. I mean, it's really for adults to understand like all that goes into it and the relationships between, you know, parents and children and all that. So I loved this tag. I thought this tag was so much fun. I'm gonna tag Francina Simone. Does she do book tags? I don't think she does. Do book tags. I'm gonna tag, let's see, Damien Terraquez, because he reads all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to read, I'm gonna pick up the restricted section. I haven't tagged them in a book tag in a long time. And this is a newer book tag, so I can tag whoever I want. So that's who I'm tagging today. And I'm gonna tag Julia Sapphires because I'm doing a buddy, Sapphire, sorry, no S on the end. Because I'm doing a buddy reads with her and I'm like 3 weeks behind on it, so I owe it to her. Receipts. So anyway, I love you guys, and thank you, Eric, for this book tag. I couldn't, I'm getting old. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.